Hi, today I'm going to be talking about consumer surplus. So what is it, how should we think about it, and how do we calculate it? So first, what is it? Consumer surplus is a way to represent the benefit consumers get from some sort of market outcome. How should we think about this? So it's easier to think and understand consumer surplus if we think about the demand curve as the willingness to pay curve. This is the same demand curve you've seen always, but just think about it as the willingness to pay curve. How much is person X willing to pay for a certain good? And that's how you construct a demand curve. So it's the same curve, but think about it as somebody's willingness to pay, because that'll help you understand consumer surplus. So how do we calculate this? Okay, so first, let's start with our supply and demand curve. So we're going to be focused on the demand curve, or in this case, the willingness to pay curve, right? So we see, you can tell that this green area is the consumer surplus, but how do we know that? So first of all, you've got to find your market equilibrium, right? Which is where supply and demand meet, or in this case, where willingness to pay and supply meet, right? So you'll find an equilibrium price and an equilibrium quantity. The most important part here is the equilibrium price. So we start, let's just talk about one individual person, and I'll go over here to illustrate this point. So let's talk about this person at this price level. Let's just say this price level is $300, and this market is for a phone, let's say. So this price level that this person is willing to buy at is $300. So they're willing to pay $300 for this phone. But equilibrium price, let's say, is only $200. So how much do they benefit from buying this phone at $200? Well, they were willing to pay $300, and they have to pay $200, so their benefit is just $300 minus $200, which gives them $100 of benefit. So that, in this graph, is represented by this vertical black line that starts at the demand curve, or the willingness to pay curve, goes all the way down to the price level, or the equilibrium price. So if we did this for every person in this market, every buyer in this market, we would get lines that go all the way down from the top of the demand curve all the way down to the price at every point, and that's how we get this green area, our consumer surplus. So all you have to do is calculate this area, which is just a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. And that's all. That's how you calculate consumer surplus. Thanks. I hope you learned something.